Alright, what is up everybody? Kallus0013 here coming in with another video like old times of finally just going over a unit. Since they are all finished, I kind of wanted to start back again with going over a unit, kind of talking about them, upgrades that I think are kind of great on them, and a few different list ideas, as well as a few like strategies that you can use and think about whenever you are playing these lists. So yeah, it feels good to get right back into it. So just a few things first. If you're interested, you can head on over to the Discord and you can talk just about anything. Like if you are interested in kind of learning more about units, you can just come on to the general. If you've got ideas for different lists, then you can feel free to post them up in here. We kind of talk about the different updates and things that are going on. If you are interested in, like commando stuff for Shadow Collective, then you can come on in here. If you hobby a lot, just go in work in progress or hobby in general and or finished products, and you'll kind of get to see everything that people are doing. So it's really awesome to see everything that you guys are doing in the Discord. Also, it helps you for the giveaway, which will be at the end of the week. I will post an announcement, so just make sure that you are commenting and liking. And if you are in the Discord, like I said, I use the server levels to kind of help to put your names in, as well as people who are subscribed and leave a comment. You get entered in to win as well. And if you haven't head on over to the Patreon, it is awesome if you head on over there and become a member. It kind of really helps out the channel and things that we can do in the future. All right, so with all of that said, today we are going to talk about Kallus and a little bit about Iden, but for the most part, we're going to talk about Kallus. So Kallus is a completely different unit. Basically, he no longer surges to crit. He doesn't surge defensively. I don't know if he had 5 or 6 health last time, but he definitely has 5 health now. He's 2 courage, speed 2, which is great. He has the J19 bow rifle naturally now, so you don't have to bring the upgrade and or worry about recovering to flip it. And it naturally has critical 1, lethal 1, and long shot. So you kind of want to get aims on him as much as possible. He no longer has tactical, so it's not going to be as easy to get these aims. You're probably going to have to bring a commander that can either generate aims or just take aims, I guess, at that point. You won't be able to spend the aim for long shot and lethal. It's basically like you spend an aim for long shot, you'd have to spend a second aim to reroll, and you'd have to spend a third aim for lethal. So he's going to be very aim hungry, so Veers would be amazing for him. Director Krennic could be okay, and then I'm sure once we get a brand new commander, custom operative, whatever it is, the custom commander could probably hand out a whole bunch of aims too, and so that'll be great. But Veers basically has spotter 2, and then he could take an aim, so that's at least 2 aims. Again, Krennic could give him an aim and then take an aim, so that's another 2 aims because they both have exemplar. So, and then Agent Kallus could take an aim. So there you go. I mean, if you at least have that going on and you're spottering Kallus, then he should be okay. Then he's got Observe 2, so then you don't necessarily have to have an aim. You can just use observation tokens to re-roll a dice, but you're not going to be able to basically do long shot or lethal without the aims. So the Observe is okay. It helps. So it allows you to save your aim for lethal or long shot, so you don't have to spend it to re-roll. At least that is great. And I think the Observe is up to range 3. Yeah. So it's great if you do need to spend your aim for long shot, because at least you'll make it. He does have bounty naturally, so this is great. A lot of Empire units now have bounty. You have Boba Fett with bounty, Bosk, Cad Bane, Din Djarin, and then the IG-88, possibly IG-11, and now Kallus. So you've got lots of ways to do double bounty lists, or even if you're just bringing him. He's at least an Empire unit, not a mercenary unit. So he does benefit from Exemplar, and the bounty is, it's easier to give him, order tokens. And also, he has direct core trooper unit now. So you'll be able to kind of support your commander in giving out orders with this. And I'll go over a few different list ideas where this is really, really helpful. He does have charge, which is great. And then he's immune to melee pierce, so you don't have to worry about a force user taking him down very easily. So this is a very great unit to hold up a Jedi or anyone with pierce in melee that doesn't have like the biggest dice pool. And he has interrogate, so if he is close to another person who is giving out orders, if you're at range 1, I think, of an enemy unit with the interrogate keyword, and there would be a tie for priority, you're going to treat that command card as having 1 more pip, so that way you can gain that priority. It's a step down from cunning, but it's still good. It's still okay. I like it. But yeah, that is him. And his gun is melee to range 2. So that's where that long shot's really going to have to come in handy. Now, he does have a command slot still, even though he's an operative, which is great. So if you need to bring improvised orders, that's really nice. Inspiring presence, any allied unit within range 4 of this unit can use its courage when checking if they're panicked, even though you're not going to use this on Kallus. Lead by example would actually probably be better. Improvised orders would be really good. And then, vigilance could be okay, but you're not really giving him any dodges. So really, improvised orders and lead by example are the only 2 of these command slots that you'll probably be ever taking. Training. Now, Into the Fray is actually probably going to be pretty decent because you're going to be really close with the enemy with Agent Kallus. So Into the Fray is going to be nice, especially since he's immune to melee pierce. He's a little bit better in melee. He's not going to go down as quickly. And since he's got 4 dice in melee, it's not that bad. And critical 1 is also pretty decent. And lethal 1, so if you're in melee, it's not that bad. So Into the Fray is going to be great because then if, you need to surge offensively or defensively, you finally get a surge token to use. Offensive push is going to be amazing to have because obviously with charge, you can take an aim, then you can move, pop offensive push, get a second aim, and then you can charge in, and now you've got 2 aims, 1 to reroll just in case, and 1 for lethal. That is a very good idea. On the Hunt is now basically what used to be Hunter. You're going to gain you're going to gain an aim token if you are attacking a unit that has 1 or more wound tokens. So, the Wookiees, any force user, anything that has multiple wounds on it, on the Hunt is going to give you an extra aim. So that way you don't have to pop offensive push and recover it. You don't have to worry about getting that recovering. So On the Hunt is going to be also really good. Seize the Initiative is going to be amazing because then you can give him an order on a 1 pip for Vader or, Iden or anyone else, if they're not being able to give an order to you and you kind of want to go first, then you'll be able to give him Seize the Initiative and kind of have him go instead. And Tenacity. Tenacity is going to be real amazing on him. Giving him an extra red dice, letting him throw 5 dice in melee, 2 red, 3 black, critical 1, not too bad. And then up close and personal could be fine, but it's making a ranged attack, and if he's going to be, in melee quite a bit, his gun is not versatile, so it's not going to be able to shoot out of melee. So up close and personal, it might not be as great as getting an aim or a surge token. And then Seize Initiative is niche as well. You're probably only going to be using it whenever you have a whole bunch of other units. Like maybe you take him with Vader, Iden, and then now he's one operative out of another operative. Maybe you also bring IG-88 and you just kind of have him naked. Seize the Initiative then would be great. So yeah. And then gear slots, really, I think the best one is environmental gear. Because of charge, you're going to gain unhindered. So now you don't have to slow down your speed in order to get him where he needs to be. So environmental gear is going to be amazing to have. I mean, prepared supplies is okay, but again, I just think of aggro, go, go, go with Agent Kallus. Let him be on the front line. He's going to be able to benefit from backup because he's an operative. So as long as you have a core unit at half range of him, a unit leader at half range of him, that's core, then you'll be able to take off 2 hits. So it's not that bad. And yeah, I wouldn't put electro binoculars or portable scanners because he's not a support unit. Like I said, he's go, go, go. So that's why environmental gear is probably one of the only ones that I would take, which makes Agent Kallus really, really cheap as a unit, giving you 5 health for 70 points, and courage 2, not too bad, and, charge, melee, immune to melee pierce, and direct a core unit. It's definitely worth it. So I think we'll see him in a lot of lists, and he fits in so many different kind. So I'll go ahead and start going over some. So with this one, this is kind of like we're going to play off of the Observe first and kind of go off that between Iden Versio and him. So I'll go over Iden on another video, but Iden's Seeker Droid gained Observe 1, so you're going to be able to hand out 1 observation token at range 3. Like I said, Kallus has Observe 2, so you'll be able to give out 2 observation tokens. So that's at least 3 observation tokens. I should go over his command cards, which really plays well into his command cards, Ruthless Tactics, which I think we've gone over in the update video, but I'll go ahead and read it. So Ruthless Tactics has changed. It's basically this round, each time an allied unit with a face-up order token makes a ranged attack. After that attack is resolved, the defending unit gains an observation token. So this round, you're going to give your order to 3 units. Well, you can at least save one of those units and not have to give it to a core unit because he's going to have a direct core. So you already have 1 unit with a face-up order token, and now you can give it to 3 more. So you have at least 4 units with face-up order tokens. If you have HQ uplink, even better. Okay, so all the units with a face-up order token that make a ranged attack is going to give out an observation token until the end of the round. Each time anyone in your army declares an attack against an enemy unit that has an observation token, you can use that observation token to give the attack pool suppressive. So you've got at least 4 units with face-up order tokens. That's 4 observation tokens that you are handing out, on top of the possible 2 that you're going to give from Kallus, and an extra 1 possibly that you're going to give from Iden. That's 7 observation tokens. Each time you spend an observation token, you're handing out an extra suppression. So this is a great way to panic a unit, especially that is on your home POI or anywhere near a POI that you are defending. So say that, you're kind of spread out, and maybe Iden's on one side and Kallus is on another side, and then you're kind of, Kallus gives an order to a core unit, so now you have 2 over here, and then maybe you give at least 1 unit, and then a sidekick unit, and then a 3rd unit. So now you have 3 and 3, and then so you start shooting with the guys who got an order, and you start putting out some observation tokens, and then all the other units that start attacking afterwards can start spending those. So it's a great way, again, to make sure that any POI that you have around your guys can suppress the enemy and hopefully prevent them from scoring. So this is a great card, and it plays off of the Iden and Kallus observation stuff. ISB Investigation is the exact same way that it worked last time. It's a great card to deny your opponent a 1-pip and possibly a 2-pip. So say that you know that possibly if you can think a turn ahead and you think they might want to play, because you have an idea now, and you're going to give it to Kallus and maybe Iden, and then you direct a core unit. Maybe next turn, you definitely don't want them to play I Am a Jedi and prevent your units from getting in an extra attack when they really need to. Or maybe you give this to Kallus and Vader, and now Vader's going in to attack Luke. Well, you say all your 3 pips you cannot use next turn. So now they can't play I'm a Jedi, or maybe they have, Son of Skywalker, where they're going to attack twice. Now you say no 1-pips next turn, so they have to lay their 1-pips. Then they're probably going to play the 3-pip, vice versa. If you don't let them play the 3-pip, they're probably going to play the 1-pip. So then maybe you go with the 1-pip. And if Kallus is next to Vader when this happens, you have Interrogate, and so now their 1-pip is a 2-pip, and your Vader is implacable, and he can go first now, get off and attack, and then get the dodge, maybe take a dodge, swing, so now he's got 2 dodges, and then Son of Skywalker attacks twice. Hopefully he's alive. But then you have Vader going again at another point in time. So, there's lots of possibilities, but this is still a really, really good card. And then Face Me has changed. So Agent Kallus gains Hold the Line. So he's now going to be able to surge to hit and surge to defend. So this is what you want to use when you are trying to get Kallus into melee. Until the end of the round, enemy trooper units that are engaged with Kallus cannot move except pivot. So this is going to be a very strong card against Ahsoka and against Jyn. So Jyn has independent move, so if she doesn't get an order, she's going to be able to move. This is a great way to tie her up and make sure that she cannot move into a POI, she can't do anything, and leaving you hanging out in the middle. This is great for that. And then secondly, a lot of times, especially during Ahsoka's 1-pip, if you kind of tried to bait Kallus, or tried to bait Ahsoka with Kallus, then, if she plays her 1-pip or so, she's definitely not going to go at least after Kallus, because she's not going to be able to make that free move action if, she doesn't defeat you or anything like that. And even with Luke, Operative Luke, who has disengage, if you're going after him, he can't leave. He can't do anything. So there's no way that you're able to really tie up a Force user, and they can Force push you. Okay, they can Force push you out. They can't basically just move. They'd have to do that first. So this is very susceptible to Force push. But anything that does not have Force push, you are gluing to the table. So it's a nice one to have. Okay, so we'll get back to this one. So you have Iden. She'll have her Seeker Droid and Hunter, or On the Hunt, I should say. And then Director Krennic will have Improvised Orders. IG-88 has On the Hunt and Targeting Scopes. And then you have Agent Kallus with Into the Fray, just to get the free Surge tokens. You've got some Black Sun Enforcers with the Scattergun and Black Sun Vigo. And so now the Scattergun is melee to range 2 with 2 red and Pierce 1. So very, very good. Basically the same gun that the fleets have. So shotgun, 2 red, Pierce 1 is very, very nice to have. And then you'll have a Black Sun Vigo, which gives you Courage 2 and a Surge token. So, and then you have Independent Aim. So this is just a great unit in itself to kind of just hold an objective on their own, out in the middle, and be very durable with that extra Surge token. You've got 2 Snowtroopers with the Ion Trooper. You've got a Stormtrooper with the DLT. This at least gives you lots of impact Ion, so you don't have to really worry about armor as much. Because the Black Suns don't have their impact grenades, it's kind of more aggro with this one against other trooper units. You have the Imperial Death Troopers, which will have the Entourage to Krennic, with the DLT, which also gives you impact 1 and is range 1 to 4. And then you've got Imperial Special Forces with T-21 and Offensive Push, basically to give you the infiltrate that you want, a reliable one. So you've got a lot of surge you got a few Surge to Defend units with Agent Kallus possibly having that with Hold the Line. You've got Black Suns with a Surge token at least. The Imperial Death Troopers Surge to Defend. The Imperial Special Forces have a reliable one, so they can use that for defense. And then you have Inferno Squad, which also has reliable one. So they have at least a Surge for defense and On the Hunt as well. And, with Del Meeko has Repair 2 once, so he can repair IG-88 2 wounds. He can take 2 wounds off IG-88 once. So that's amazing to have, and that's why IG-88 is in here. And, you also have Bounty with this one, and and Kallus. So you have 2 operatives with your Bounty. You have double Bounty, so extra ways to gain different points. So that's the first one. And yeah, so let's see. Second one. You have Moff Gideon. So this one is going to really play off of Moff this time, but using Kallus, especially for the direct core trooper unit. And then the next one I like even more. So you have Moff Gideon with improvised, you have Agent Kallus with into the fray and environmental gear, specifically trying to get him into melee. You have the Riot Squad with the KX series droids, Gideon Hask, and environmental gear. Now, I have Gideon Hask in here because of the coordinate core trooper. So Agent Kallus is going to direct the Riot Squad to make sure that your charged unit has an order, and then the charged unit can then coordinate to the snowtroopers with the snowtrooper squad. So at least you've got 2 core units with a face-up order token out of your 5. And then if you hand out orders, you will have more possibly orders onto your core, which really makes use of Ruthless. So Ruthless, obviously, a core unit with a face-up order token at range 2 and in line of sight of Moff Gideon can suffer a wound, perform a free action. So that allows the charging Riot Squad to possibly take a wound, and Gideon Hask has 2 wounds. Obviously, you don't want him going first, but you lose a guy, you get to make 3 moves, and then you can charge. So that's going to be really nice, especially since you are basically a 6-inch speed unit, so you're going to be covering 18 inches in that turn. Yeah, you got 1 less dice, but you're tying up a unit in melee that probably didn't think about it. You do wind up surging to hit at melee. And then you can also give out units to the snowtroopers with the snowtrooper squad. And then so basically you're moving 4 inches at a time. So that's 4, 8, 12. So that's 12 inches that you're moving with the snowtroopers. And then they have steady. So you're looking at 4 out of 5 core units getting a free action after they move, along with Agent Kallus having charge. So you have lots of units that can double move and still get off an attack. And then you have a naked stormtrooper and then 2 Imperial Dark Troopers. One of them has programmed loyalty, the assault cannon, and the frag grenade, so they're going to be staying probably close to Moff Gideon. And then you have the Imperial Dark Troopers with just the assault cannon and the Imperial Dark Troopers. You can flip-flop these if you wanted. This one could probably stay close to Moff Gideon, and then this one could be a little bit more aggressive. And the reason I only have 1 programmed loyalty is because the 2-pip that allows you to kind of move the Dark Troopers along, you can just kind of teleport them. Which I also think with battle plans, bunker assault, breakthrough, and intercept the signals. With intercept the signals, you can give a unit an intel token. And what you can do is with the 2-pip, the 2-pip just basically says you get to keep all tokens that are with that unit. You keep all tokens, remove them from the battlefield, and then place them not within range 2 of any other unit. So you take your intel token and you teleport to the back objective. Same thing with destroy the enemy base. Basically, you teleport close to the enemy base, and then you just start shooting away, and then hopefully the next turn you could secure your enemy base and objective. So that's really, really nice to have. And with breakthrough, if at least you're contesting, you're preventing them from gaining their home objective. So the Dark Troopers and Moff are still really good, and the new Legion 2.6, it's just a matter of how are you going to use them. And, for a breakthrough, you have Kallus, the Riot Squad, and the Snowtroopers all going on one end. So all your charge units are basically trying to get aggressive and go in. And maybe you have Moff Gideon near them, so that way he can Ruthless them to get really in there. And, if you are already contesting with Ruthless, then, and because Kallus needs to be able to give out that order token to Gideon, who can then coordinate to someone, and you got to kind of keep them all near each other so that Ruthless does work and that you're getting those free actions and stuff. So that's one way. And then this is 11 activations. The other one that I really like is Moff Gideon with improvised, Agent Kallus with Into the Fray environmental gear. You have your riot squad with just the droids and environmental gear, so no Gideon. You have Gideon on the snowtroopers, though, and a medical droid, and then you have the snowtroopers, 2 squads, with the flame trooper, the snowtrooper squad, and emergency stims. So the goal with this one is to basically direct the Gideon Hask snowtrooper unit with the medical droid to coordinate to a snowtrooper squad, and then maybe you give out an order to the flame trooper squad, and then you can ruthless with Moff the 2 snowtrooper squads, and instead of taking a wound, you just put it on the emergency stims, which keeps your guy alive, and then you triple move, and then you flame your opponent. And then next turn, you're able to move Gideon snowtrooper squad up to the snowtroopers that had the emergency stims. You then exhaust the emergency stims, you take off a guy, you med them back, and boom, you're good. There you go. So you get to keep that extra guy for the attack rather than taking them out of the attack for Ruthless and getting to do everything. So this is a great way to be able to do anything. I know it says that if you suffer a wound from an enemy attack, then you can do this card. So then scratch everything I just said. For some reason, I read that wrong earlier and got this idea. So scratch that. You'll lose a guy, but for the attack, which kind of sucks. But then at least you bring them back. And then whenever they do get attacked, then you can emergency stims them, keeping them alive a little bit longer. But yeah, so sorry, you can't ruthless the squad and put it on emergency stims. It's from an enemy attack. That kind of blows it. But so yeah, ignore this one then. But it's very similar, very, very similar. Let's go with Iden Versio with On the Hunt and the Seeker Droid. Darth Vader with Burst of Speed, Force Push, Into the Fray, and Tenacity, so Operative Vader. You have Agent Kallus, who is nothing on him. You have Snowtroopers with the Snowtrooper Squad and the Flame Trooper guy. And then you've got Stormtroopers, 2 of them with the DLT. You've got the Imperial Special Forces with On the Hunt. You've got 3 dewbacks. You've got 2 of them with Tenacity and 1 of them with the Flame Trooper and the HQ Uplink. So basically you give your dewbacks the orders from Vader's 2-pip, new ways to motivate them. So that way they can take a wound to do an extra free action. To activating Tenacity, you pop your HQ uplink for the dewback rider and give him an order. And then Agent Kallus can direct the Snowtrooper squad and give them an order. So now you've got 4 units that can really go ham, and they have either Relentless or Steady. So you can basically triple move and then pop off either Steady or Charge, or basically Relentless, whatever. But yeah, your dewbacks can spur. I mean, you've got Operative Vader. So at least, with him, if you needed to do anything close by, you could. If you needed to somehow swap in Commander Vader, you're going to be very, very short on points. You probably won't be able to do the Snowtrooper squad, but you'll be able to get them in. This is just kind of making a way for, Kallus to be able to at least give a core unit an extra order to pop off Vader's 2-pip to kind of make sure that you get a really good attack in. You've got 2 Flame Trooper units, so the dewback riders. If they wind up getting stuck in melee like round 2 and they're still close by another unit, so maybe they try to pick a unit that would try to stop the dewback rider, you can still withdraw with a creature trooper unit. You can still withdraw and attack. So, you can withdraw and then move and still attack. So that is really nice. And I think you can spur in a withdrawal to be able to get a speed too. So dewback riders are going to be really good, and I think we'll still see them quite a bit. But yeah, the Snowtrooper squad with the flames are going to be great with Vader's 2-pip. And at least with Iden, this brings some long range out there. Along with Inferno squad, you've got at least 2 snipers that can try to do some damage farther away to kind of help kind of keep your opponent kind of squished or not coming out as fast. So that way they don't shoot up your dewbacks or your snows. So you kind of want to go with them a little bit later. And with her 3-pip, if you wanted to bring her 3-pip, you could, but I didn't, because you don't have a ton of special forces units in there. So yeah, and now I'm bringing Ruthless Tactics, just for extra suppression of the opponent, along with, Master of Evil, giving out 3 suppression tokens for any other trooper unit at range 2 of you. So you've got lots of ways to hand out suppression in a few different rounds. So that's that one. You've got Iden again with Kallus by himself. So those are the only commander and operatives. Then you've got snowtroopers you got 1 with the Ion, you got 2 stormtroopers with the DLT, you've got 2 scout troopers with the sonic charge, you've got Imperial Special Forces on the hunt, you got 2 strike teams with the snipers, and then you have 3 dewbacks. You've got 1 with the flame, and then 2 of them with tenacity and the RT-97C. You have 13 activations. You've got some melee threats with the dewbacks and Kallus. You've got, technically 4 snipers between 2 strike teams, Del Miko and Iden. And then you've also got Sonic Charge Saboteur Scout Troopers. And then you've got some impact between your core. And Kallus can also make sure to give whoever core needs something they can. And then Iden's going to be sticking by, in Imperial Special Forces because of that retinue with Imperial Special Forces. And yeah, your dewbacks can kind of go out on their own and do what they need to on the flank. Your scout troopers with the saboteur can go with the Inferno squad and Iden, and then your strike team can be with Iden. And technically, if they need to just keep your home objective for intercept the transmissions, you could do that because they're long range, so they don't have to worry about it. And you've got a lot of range 4 in here. Between the DLTs on the stormtroopers and your sniper strike teams, your Inferno squad, and Iden, her sniper rifle is range 1 to infinity, so you don't have to worry about anything. Super nice. 13 activations is great between having a few melee benefits and lots of long range benefits. The next one is Lord Vader, so the commander, with choke, push, and burst of speed. I love the combination of force push and force choke, especially with relentless or anything, because there's so much damage that is getting done. So you're attacking the unit that you're engaged with, but you're also able to force choke another unit that is around you. Or if you needed to, maybe you had Darth Vader, the commander, or operative, but I prefer, burst of speed on operative. Sometimes, I do, if I am going to infiltrate him with Vader, I'll usually put push and choke on him. And then if you have maybe Iden with him with Hunter, then what you could do is try to get Vader in close to a multi-wound unit and then force choke them, giving them the wound that will activate Hunter. So force choke is amazing to have. Plus, if there's just that one guy left, just close by your force user, you can at least take the unit off the table without having to waste an attack and hope that you get it through and anything like that. It's basically a perfect take him off the board. You don't have to deal with it anymore. So force choke is so powerful, and it's really, really good. Agent Kallus has entered the fray. You've got 2 snowtrooper units with the Ion. You've got a snowtrooper unit with the flame trooper squad, or the snowtrooper squad, I should say, emergency stims, and the frag grenades. So that way, when you do use Vader's 2-pip, you can give them the wound and then try to rush them in. And then if they get attacked, right after that, you can use your emergency stims and then start going back again, and then after your next activation, you can take those 2 wounds and apply them after your attack, basically. You've got 2 scout troopers with the charged saboteur. You've got 1 strike team, and then you've got 3 dewbacks, one with HQ up, one with HQ uplink and the flamethrower, and then 2 of them with just tenacity. So you give your 2 dewbacks again the new ways to motivate them orders, dewback rider HQ uplinks, and then you can give your snow trooper an order with Kallus to benefit from the 2-pip new ways to motivate them as well. And yeah, this is another really, really fun one to play with. And, you know, with Lord Vader, you don't have to worry about suppression on this one necessarily. And the snow troopers can still, you know, move. If they're suppressed, they can at least still move and shoot, keeping them a little bit more mobile. And then your scout troopers are all encouraged too, so they can kind of protect a flank if they need to. And then the dewback riders can just kind of super go in. And you're probably using Vader's 3-pip to begin with to infiltrate in. You don't really give him any surge tokens, which kind of sucks. But yeah, he probably really needs to go in and infiltrate. And then lastly, this one is a playing off of the observations and suppression again. So you're just kind of trying to really load up your opponent with suppression. So you have Iden with On the Hunt and her Seeker Droid. You know, you can also change out On the Hunt for the offensive push. There is no more loadout, so, and I'll talk about that when I go over Iden, so these don't really matter when you're on Tabletop Admiral. Agent Kallus with tenacity and environmental gear, so a little bit different, giving him an extra dice. Still getting him in with environmental gear. You've got a shore trooper unit with the T-21. You've got a stormtrooper unit that is naked. You've got a stormtrooper unit with the DLT, and then you have a mortar. So you're trying to play off of the observation token, basically the Ruthless Tactics card, to really load up suppression on someone you don't like, an operative unit who you're just like, I don't want Luke to do anything this round. So, or I don't want the, God forbid, the sleeper cells to do anything this round. I need them to be suppressed. So maybe you just focus fire the units that have a face-up order token on the sleeper cells, and you just suppress them to where they can't activate. So, you know, Agent Kallus can direct a shore trooper unit. So the shore trooper unit then gets an order and it can direct to the mortar. So now you've got 2 core units with an order on round 2, because Kallus on round 1 is not on the board. But round 2, you give them an order through direct, and then you've got 3 other units that you can give orders to. So you gave it to Kallus, you give it to Iden, and then you get another one to give to maybe the Imperial Special Forces. So now all your big main units have orders, and you kind of go with maybe the Imperial Special Forces, and you can split fire. Maybe Del Meeko gives out an observation token to 1 unit because they just made an attack with the sniper, and then Gideon, Hask, and the generic persons, Cian, Miranda, or whatever her name was, they shoot at someone else, giving out another observation token. And then your shore troopers shoot, giving out an observation token. Your mortar shoots, giving out an observation token. And then Kallus and Iden can shoot, they can observe a whole different unit that doesn't have anything and shoot, and then Ida Versio can hand out observation tokens and then shoot at someone else handing out observation tokens. So let's see, that's 2, possibly 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 observation tokens that you can hand out to then use for suppressive, especially since, you know, your mortars is already going to be suppressive, along top of the range troopers with the suppressive gun at range 4. So this is going to just hopefully suppress your opponent's entire army. So this is supposed to be kind of like a long range gun line, because again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 snipers, and all with Pierce. Well, lethal on him. But you've got 3 units with native Pierce, another unit with lethal, and then Kallus has lethal, and then your range troopers are suppressive, your mortar is suppressive, and then you can also make sure that you use those observation tokens for suppression. And 13 activations is a lot. Now, you at least can use Kallus again to tie up your opponent's force user if they have one, letting all the other guys start shooting at everybody. But yeah, again, unless they have force push, you're going to try to push Agent Kallus up front. So I would make sure that Kallus is doing everything he can to kind of lead. So that way he is also kind of the bait. Make sure that he is, hidden pretty well. You probably don't want to keep using long shot because you want to make sure he's hidden and has a lot of health to tie up a force user or Jin or someone like that to kind of make sure that, you're able to survive a little bit. But that is it, guys. Sorry to kind of rush through. I had a lot of ideas coming back with this type of video. So if you like these videos, especially these where I'm kind of breaking down a unit and talking about them, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And, make sure you're a subscriber and leave a comment, and that kind of helps you get you entered in to win. And I'll make the announcement. Actually, I'll give you the ability to comment on this one, and then next week I will announce the winner for the Commander expansion. So congrats to that person. Whenever I pull it, I'll make an announcement on YouTube. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you head to the Discord and you just kind of talk around, kind of do whatever, even if it's not about, Legion and you just want to talk about off-topic stuff, going to a crawfish boil, Grant, or you want to talk about Armada, X-Wing, anything like that, feel free. It's just a kind of a fun Discord. And yeah, all right, guys, I will see you later, and I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day. Peace out.